right, so fourth activation, Orm's Peak or Ormy's Peak. I don't think we ever figured out which way to pronounce it. I heard two different versions on the radio. We're overlooking Colorado Springs. We actually have almost a downhill shot straight into the Air Force Academy, and then we got the town spread out on both sides. We were getting contacts probably 65, 70 miles away, up into Bailey and Aurora, up in Denver. And so that's pretty good. Again, we're still using the Anytone 878 UV2 Plus with the Ed Fong J-Pull. And so real happy with that. We got 21 contacts in about 40 minutes. And so pretty easy. Coming up wasn't too bad. Note to self, okay? You learn something every time we go up. Either we're forgetting the antenna or we're forgetting this and that. Sunscreen. Always bring sunscreen in the bag, okay? So we've been trying to stay in the shade or sit in the shadow. We had a couple clouds go over, so that is a help. You know, always bring the sunscreen out, and I'm going to put it in the bag and make sure we don't forget it next time. So 73, appreciate y'all watching. This is K0FYR Ham Solo. See you next time. So, and thinking that was the end of the journey and we were just going to head back down, we ran into a little problem down at the bottom of the hill. So basically what we have here is we've got the trail where we started up here in Ormy's Peak when we were at the top. We're coming down the path and we're going to end up off of a game trail onto just walking through the forest. So as we come down, walking through the forest, then we meet up with the service road and we proceed down to where the car is parked. Well, while we were doing that, I was putting everything away and I had turned off the GPS tracking and I had changed it over to from being always on to 15 seconds where it goes blank or dim, you know, to save the battery. And I set it down, I guess, on the bumper of the Jeep and thought that, you know, I needed to put everything away. We had three people's stuff, you know, trying to get it all in the back of the Jeep. And so we got all that in there, and I think what I did was I left it on the bumper. And, you know, didn't know it at the time, obviously. But as we got in the Jeep and started to head back out, basically we came back up the service road, and we ended up at this spot here where we're making a turn up the road. That's about 458 yards away, or 418 meters. And apparently it fell off right there. And so we continue down the trail and we leave and we go home. And we're there getting ready to go out for the night and have dinner or something. And so we took a shower and you know, I decided, hey, you know what? I need to go charge the Garmin, you know, because we used it today. And so I went out to the car and it's not clipped to my bag. And so I started searching. It's not in my rucksack. It's not in my son's. It's not in any of the stuff we had in there. It's not on my computer bag. It's not in the back of her Jeep. It's not in the back of my vehicle. It's not downstairs where all my stuff is. And so, you know, I basically text or hit locate on the Garmin website, and it shows it to be where we stopped, 458 yards. That's where it's pinging that it is. And so my son and I drive back out there, and, you know, we try to go find the unit, and we are going all the way down this service road, and when we go back to that spot where it's supposed to be, and before we got there, it showed where the yellow dot is, that's where it was now, which was 2.5 miles away from where the last ping it was, about 450 feet from where we parked. And so we go all the way down that trail, looking both left and right side of the road, try to see if we can see the unit where it's supposed to be at that one spot. And we come back to where it's saying it is at this spot, again, looking left and right on the road, and we just can't see anything. And that's, you know, a total of, like I said, about 2.4-ish miles following that whole route, and there's no way it lasted on the vehicle for that long. And so it's now about 7:30 at night, and we go ahead and call it quits and you know, head out to dinner. We're not really sure at this point, what's happened. So my son and I opt to go back out in the morning about 8 o'clock and see if we can go back to that spot there 2.5 miles away and search again. So when we get back out to the point and we park on the side of the road, my son had used a mil spec GPS uh, unit on an app on his phone, and we go out into the woods about 30, 25 feet, 30 feet off road to where the thing is supposedly pinging and saying it is. And lo and behold, it is found behind a stump placed on its face off road about, like I said, about 30, 35 feet. And kind of just happened upon it, just scanning around in the brush, trying to see something that far off of the roadway to find out what's going on. And that's where put eyes on it. So, as what you saw in the video shows, someone came about 25 meters or so off of the roadway and placed it face down behind this stump. They turned the unit back to always on the screen. I guess the intent was to try to kill the battery so that I wouldn't be able to keep locating it. And I think the reason they placed it there in the first place was because when they were back here and had found it on the roadway and picked it up and drove 2 miles and 2.5 miles or so, I think I pinged it when I was at the house, and they went, oh, they're still able to track it. And so that's when they placed it here and always on, hoping that it would die relatively quickly and we wouldn't be able to come find it, because we were doing like what I told you. We were looking on both sides of the road, driving around, because the thing can be off upwards of probably 30 feet. Map grid coordinates are usually good within 10 meters. And so I think that was the intent. And if they had it face up, we would have been able to see the light at night where the unit was. And so we came out in the morning, this morning, Sunday, and it was still had the same original ping from the night before, about 11:30 p.m. And so my son had put the coordinates into a mil spec app that he has for doing grid coordinates, and we knew that we were going to be somewhere within 10 meters. And so we got out of the vehicle and we walked off-road, and right about the time that I'd stepped over where it looked like on the map it might be, I turned and looked, and about 15 feet away, it's sitting just like this behind this stump. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, that just saved me $450. But that somebody was even trying to do that, that's kind of upsetting. That they would find it, and then they would sit there knowing that it was pinging and they didn't want to get in trouble, try to kill it so that I wouldn't be able to find it. And, probably they were going to come and retrieve it maybe this afternoon. But we beat them to it, saved the Garmin, saved $450 out of my pocket, for some jerk off trying to steal this from me. And so, in the end, this is me sitting in the car with it after we just recovered it. And my son had typed in here, someone stole it and put it under a tree, and we found it. And that was good news for us. So, I'll just try to be more vigilant and try to stay on top of it, and make sure that I've got checks on every single thing that I'm putting back in the vehicle, and don't get thrown off when we have more people on the trail with me, so I don't lose focus. So, into the video, happy ending for me. Got my Garmin back, and really happy about that. Good activation, 21 contacts, and I appreciate all that, but this was upsetting for sure. For most of the night, I was pretty upset about losing this, and luckily, I was able to track it back down and get it before the thing died, and they tried to erase it or rewrite it or whatever. I know Garmin's website says that they're not supposedly able to do that, but there's other parts of it that says, oh, if all else fails, do this, and you can master reset it. And so luckily we got it back before any damage was done, or I was out, the money out of pocket. So I appreciate you watching. 73, this is a ham solo K0FYR. Thank you.